Aloha and welcome to Connection to the Cosmos with your host, me, Dr. Lisa Thompson, where I have out of this world conversations with extraordinary people. And today we have something hopefully really exciting for you guys. I have Tom Paladino, who is here to talk about scalar energy, also known as 0 point energy. So a new kind of topic to the show. But first, before I bring him on, just a couple of announcements. So I have had a huge download of information from my galactic team, and we are putting on a series of classes starting February 8th. And this is calling in the energy of the galactics. So the February 8th class is actually going to be an intro to 12 different ET races and the kind of energy, the kind of wisdom that they're bringing in. And then starting on February 28th, we're going to do a deep dive. So each different week is a different specific group that we're going to call in the energy. Arturian Aluru will be channeling through me. We'll be bringing in some other energy from the other galactics. So I will post the link to that information for you guys. And then I have finally set a date for my 4-day galactic experience here on the Big Island of Hawaii. This is 4 days of intensive work, learning, telepathy, remote viewing, doing night sky watches, calling in our different galactic family and guides. And this is going to be September 13th through the 18th if you're flying in. So the actual dates of the retreat are 14th to the 17th. So again, I have information on that. And if you're visiting here in Hawaii on the Big Island, come see me on one of my Big Island UFO tours or get a live session. So without further ado, I'm going to bring Tom Paladino onto screen. Hi, Tom.
Good day. Hi, Lisa.
So I would love to, I'm going to read your bio so everyone knows who you are. And this is, like I said, a new kind of topic to the show. I love exposing my audience to new ideas. And for some people, maybe it's not new, but for most of my audience, I think it will be. So Tom Paladino is a scalar energy researcher based in Florida. Scalar energy is the fundamental life force found everywhere in the world, space and universe. It originates from the sun and stars. Chi, prana, om, mana, life force, pyramid energy, or 0 point energy are synonymous terms for scalar energy. Tom theorized that all energy in the universe initiates as scalar energy, and that the sun of our solar system and the stars of the universe are the points of origin, the storehouses for scalar energy. He further theorized that scalar energy is instructive energy, as the entire universe is instructed by this divine essence. Subsequently, all spiritual, cognitive, emotional, and physical action in the universe is initiated and maintained by scalar energy instructions. Scalar energy provides order in the universe. Well, welcome, Tom. That is quite a mouthful, but, based on some of a lot of the work that I've done throughout my entire life, and that other people that have come on the show, they are working with this energy, probably whether they know it or not, right?
Exactly. And Doctor, quite frankly, you're an expert, and everybody watching this podcast is an expert in scalar energy, which is the energy of the sun and the stars. We use it every day. We just haven't defined the terms. So I mean that, I'm not trying to butter anybody up. Everybody understands this energy, at least intuitively.
Okay, so before we get into how you got into this work and like really the kind of research that you do, I would love for you to share with the audience kind of your background. How did you grow up? Were you in a spiritual or religious household? I see Jesus over the back of your head. So
yeah, I've combined Catholic mysticism and scientific inquiry.
Okay.
And when you're following this path of truth, respective of everybody's religious belief and philosophical leaning, if you're following the truth, it always works. So I believe God is the truth. I believe science is the truth. And there should be no division between religion and spirituality and science. It's the truth. If it's real, if it's absolute truth, then we embrace it. So I grew up as a Roman Catholic, and I observed not only the laws of the commandments, but also the laws of science. And both go hand in hand. There is no contradiction. Now, other scientists such as Nikola Tesla, he had a religious background, and many other scalar energy researchers that I know of, they likewise had a religious background. And because the laws of religion or the laws of spirituality, call it what you will, are absolute, as are the laws of science. And when you're working with absolute laws, absolute truth, there's never a problem. You can never make a mistake. So that's the key to my research. I work with energy, scalar energy. There's no human input. The energy does the work. The energy is the animating force. What is scalar energy? It's energy from the sun and the stars. So when I tap into that star energy, that energy does the work. That's absolute truth. Those are the, if you will, the fundament of the universe. The scalar energy follows the principles of science. And with that in mind, I have a guaranteed outcome.
Okay, so we'll talk about that in a moment. So how did you get into this work? Like, do you have like a mainstream academic background in science, or are you more hobbyist turned researcher, or how did that come about?
Yeah, I studied Nikola Tesla when I was young, and I knew he was onto something. So after I knew that he had this incredible gift of what I consider a combination of mysticism and scientific ability, I likewise pursued a course in independent study with scalar energy. After my collegiate career, I knew I would have to do this alone. Why? This is a new science.
Right.
So all of my work is groundbreaking. It's different. It's new. And after a while, you have to be willing to separate yourself from the path and choose the path that was less traveled. And that's what I've done. It's well worth it. So scalar energy is a new and emerging science. Tesla was the first person that I know of who could harness scalar energy. In many ways, I've copied his work, and I have scalar energy instruments that likewise capture scalar energy.
Okay, so now I'm a former scientist. That I have a PhD in biology, and you know, in the work that I used to do, we used to have to get grant money to fund our research and other things. So, how is your research funded? Are you personally funding it, or do you have backing from outside sources?
There's no backing, doctor, and you understand that. When any type of research, especially when it's groundbreaking, it's poorly understood. It's not embraced. So, all I can say is that the people who visit my website will pay our bills as we go along, but the monies come as they will, as God wills. That's a good point. And that's one of the impediments right now with this science. It's not understood. It's not embraced. So you don't have the capital outlay to really advance the science.
Okay. So now I am a little bit familiar with Nikola Tesla's work, but can you, I guess, so first of all, how long ago did you start the research?
I'm 62 years of age, so I started when I was 9, 10 years of age. So I've been at this now, at least in theory, for 50 years.
Okay. So
it's been my life.
Wow, that has been your life. And so I guess walk us through. So you did go to college, you said, after you finished your collegiate. So what did you get your degree in college in?
I have a major in English, a minor in business. I had to do that because I had to work for a living. Okay. And I have a minor in physics, but I never was able to follow up on all of that because then I began my independent study. I did not want to follow the traditional road of academia. I wanted to start this private research. So that's consumed me. So again, I really have to punctuate. I had a wonderful academic background. I had wonderful professors, but there comes a time in your life that you have to decide to go this alone. And I did that in my 20s. In my late 20s, I said, this is it. I can't waste any more time. I have to pursue this Tesla research.
Okay. Well, and I totally get it. I mean, I left academia 20 years ago now, and it just, mainstream academia for me wasn't doing I couldn't be myself. I couldn't really explore the things that I really had personal experiences in. And so I did find it very limiting to be in that realm. So number one, I commend you for going it on your own and having this passion that you have been carrying out all of these years, the 50 some years that you've been doing it. So I guess, walk us through the evolution of how the
Sure.
research has been unfolding.
Sure. Well, to take you back away, back in my early 30s, I was at, 33 years of age. I met the Hieronymus family. Now, this is a family that developed scalar energy instruments. And
Okay.
that began my practical application of scalar energy. Now, keep in mind, scalar energy is not electricity. So what I discovered with this family and their inventions, the Hieronymus family, was like walking into a gold mine. It was a veritable gold mine. And I said to myself, this is it. Dr. Hieronymus developed scalar energy instruments. He could work with these instruments and he could work with people around the world through their photograph. And that's what I'm doing today. I've copied his technique. So a scalar energy instrument is non-local energy. It's
Mhm.
quantum energy. You can access it from the sun and the stars, and you can, if you will, connect with any object in the universe. I connect with those objects by way of a photograph. Now, that doesn't sound like electricity, does it? You're absolutely right. That's not an electromagnetic characteristic. That's a unique characteristic to the quantum field. And this is why you really just have to focus. If you really want to make any progress, you have to have a laser focus on what you're doing. And I have that laser focus on this new and emerging science, scalar energy.
Okay. So, I back in the late 90s, early 2000s, I got really into quantum mechanics and was reading as many books as I could, even though I was in the biology field. So I'm sure things have progressed significantly in the last 20 years in that field, which has probably helped propel your research forward.
Yes. Yes.
But also at the spiritual school that I was attending, our teacher, who was an ascended master being channeled through a lady, he was teaching us about 0 point energy and about how we all have this ability to access
Yes.
it. And that is actually one of the technologies, we'll call it, that propels some of these ET crafts that are out there, and that we have the ability to do that even within our own bodies. And so I would love for you to explain, I guess, how do you harness this?
Absolutely. How do we harness this? Automatically. Okay, if it scalar energy, scalar light, 0 point energy, quantum energy is from the sun and the stars, I believe so, then the entire universe is flooded with scalar energy.
Mhm.
So I always tell people the mind operates through scalar energy, chi or consciousness. The heart operates through scalar energy, chi or consciousness. So I'm working with the non-physical essence of the universe, a divine essence, consciousness. And how does this operate? Automatically. Consciousness, scalar energy, serve as the instructions of the universe. The Ark of the Covenant was a consciousness vessel. It carried scalar energy, the presence of God. The human mind operates by this consciousness, by scalar energy waves. The human heart feels, has emotion because of consciousness, scalar energy waves. So this is why this research is so promising. We're working with the fundamental aspect of the universe, consciousness, intelligence. And first comes the instructions, the cause, and therefrom results the effect. So what am I working with? I'm actually in the driver's seat. I'm the captain of this ship with a scalar energy instrument. A scalar energy instrument can produce a guaranteed outcome. I control consciousness with scalar energy instruments.
Okay. So now back in the day when you said you were first introduced to the instruments, have the instruments evolved into
Yeah.
being more powerful or more focused, or
Yes.
like how do
Yes.
these work?
Back in 1993, when I met the inventor's wife, Sarah Hieronymus, they were weak instruments. I have a group of engineers, and we've amplified the power. How do these instruments work? Through intelligence. It's all non-physical. There's no chemical reaction. It's non-physical. So let me demonstrate. If I place a photograph of a person, people will email me photographs. If I place my photograph in the instrument by intelligence, there's no input from me, scalar quantum intelligence will look for a virus on this quantum plane and destroy it. Within that quantum dimension, that quantum plane, we can identify viruses, bacteria, parasites, and destroy them, eliminate them. Or through the quantum plane, we can balance the brain waves or balance the 7 chakras. Now, I'm holding this up for a reason. I do not work with people. I work with their body double or their spirit double. People bilocate to me. People do not physically visit me. People bilocate by way of their photograph. In the quantum field, everything bilocates or multilocates. Mm-hmm. It's a holographic universe. So don't think along electromagnetic principle, think along the line of scalar energy principles in which a photograph is everywhere. And I can access a person's quantum field by the energy field found on a photograph. That's the promise of scalar energy. We transcend time and space. I realize you're in Hawaii. If you were to send me your photograph, I place your photograph in an instrument. You, doctor, you bilocate to my laboratory through your photograph. You do not have to come to the mainland United States. You can stay on the Big Island. You bilocate through the quantum field by way of your photograph. Now, many mystics, many meditators have contemplated this and said, yes, bilocation is really the norm.
Yeah.
In the universe, you transcend time and space. How do you transcend it? Through the scalar dimension. If you're bound by space and time, you're living in the electromagnetic dimension. If you get out of the electromagnetic dimension, you automatically transcend time and space. You automatically become a quantum being. Big difference.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, absolutely. And so I've had, I do different healing modalities, and I have had quite a few guests on that do remote healing, but they're able to do that through that quantum realm because everything is all connected at the quantum level, right?
Yes.
And
everything's connected, yes.
So,
yes.
Okay.
And
well,
you can appreciate this, and I've been to Hawaii a number of times, and there are various cultures around the world that grasp this, that understand this. Mm-hmm. When I speak about quantum entanglement in a scientific term, the people of the Pacific Rim, specifically Hawaii, understand that that's their culture. This is what some people call reverently mana, or chi, or prana. It's very real. But you're not going to get that from academia, at least not right away.
Not yet. I mean, it's taken how many years for epigenetics to actually become normal in mainstream academia, or even consciousness studies. So, okay, well, so you've given us one example of maybe how this scalar energy helps people, or how you can work with people in terms of clearing away viruses, bacteria. So does someone have to have an ailment that they're aware of to come to you, or do people just do it out of curiosity?
Some people do it out of curiosity, and I want to make this very clear. I'm not a physician, and I let the energy diagnose. Now, what do I mean by that? When somebody sends me a photograph, the energy is all-knowing. It's Christ consciousness. Will pick out the virus. Will ascertain what fungi a person has, and will eradicate that in the quantum field. The energy will automatically balance the 7 chakras. Now, frankly, I don't know how to balance 7 chakras. That's my limitation as a human being. Quantum energy, this infinite energy of Christ, will balance the chakras, will eliminate microbes. So we're not in a science in which you have to rely upon human ingenuity or human experience. Rather, I just step out of the way and I let the energy perform all the work. The energy, the intelligence, scalar energy is the animating force, and that's all you need. And this is why I can guarantee an outcome. It's not dependent upon the operator. It's already inbuilt in the energy. The energy, light is perfect. It's fundamental. If you have a fundamental principle that you're working with, you can guarantee that. Scientific laws, scientific principles are fundamental. And they always carry out the instructions. They never fail.
Okay, so then the instrument that you do this with, do you have to have the instrument, or can it be done just with thought?
Both, to answer your question. And that's where we're getting at this. Now, in summation, the human mind and the human heart are scalar energy vessels. People do not need an instrument. I use an instrument. I'm proving this scientifically. People can use their mind or their heart and cure or provide the word of knowledge or meditate. We can move mountains with the mind and the heart. You don't need a scalar energy instrument. What am I doing with my instrument? I'm proving by way of a scientific apparatus that I can control quantum energy consciousness and that it has a guaranteed outcome. It's dependable. So if I can harness this energy through an instrument, I can prove scientifically that it exists, or at least I can show in theory that this energy exists. But you, Dr. Lisa, you're so astute, you realize that the mind and the heart possess that consciousness. We all have that gift of Christ consciousness, or prana, or chi.
Okay. Yes. Okay. So I'm just, so many questions rattling around. Okay. So for the work that you do and the research that you do, is your primary goal in healing the body and healing whatever is going on, or do you have other applications for this use?
Very good. I'll give the audience an idea. With these instruments, we can assemble nutrients. Now, how do we do that? For instance, if I were to take this photograph of riboflavin and place it in the instrument would look at the molecular structure of riboflavin and then reproduce that in a person. So a photograph of a vitamin can be reproduced in the quantum field of a person. So what am I getting at? Provided we have accurate photographs, and this is how I instruct the instrument, we can assemble vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, female hormones, male hormones, enzymes, fatty acids, proteins. And we have programs for the aforementioned. So with these instruments, it really is unlimited. I'm only one operator. I only have a fixed amount of time. I have approximately 10 different programs, such as hormone therapy, endorphins and neurotransmitter, natural foods. We can actually download phytochemicals into the quantum plane. So to answer your question, the sky's the limit. My website has 10 protocols approximately. We could develop 1,000 protocols if the world participated. There's only so much I can do. I'm trying to introduce this to the world, but I'm certainly there's a roadblock right now. We need a greater number of people to venture into this, to spend quality time in trying to develop this science.
Okay. Well, and I do have a guest on in a couple months from now that also works with 0 point energy. So I'll be curious to have that contrast to see how you guys are similar or different in how you're working.
Yes.
Now, there is a question that I'm seeing from one of our audience members who's asking, does that only produce positive results if the person receiving truly believes? What if they are skeptical?
Yeah, very good. We work with many people who are skeptical, and so be it, and they still have positive results.
Okay.
And I'll also add, I frequently work with dogs and cats and horses and birds and livestock, and we see positive outcomes with animals. So even if you're skeptical or oblivious, uneducated, you're still going to get the benefit. Why? It's fundamental. My scalar energy instrument is broadcasting the sun, is broadcasting the stars. You cannot impede the sun and the stars. You cannot stop this energy, sunlight, starlight, from producing its favorable outcome. So this is what I love about my research. Nothing can impede it. I'm working with the laws of science. It is a dependable energy because it observes the laws of science, and the outcome is always favorable because there's no human ingenuity here. I'm working with the Christ consciousness that always produces a desired outcome, a favorable outcome.
Okay, so one of the things in working with my higher dimensional beings, my extraterrestrials, is when they're in that higher realm, they don't need to eat any longer because they're not as physical. They don't have the illness because they are surrounded by this energy, and they use that energy even to travel. But it is everything. It is essential part of the universe. So can you speak to that?
Yes, that's another brilliant comment. Many people will go on our program as we start to develop this program and they're experiencing the creation of vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, enzymes, their food intake decreases because they're receiving their nutrients by light, by energy, not by diet. Now, that doesn't mean you abstain from eating. No, it simply means you augment your diet with light nutrients, scalar light nutrients. Why? Because scalar light can create a vitamin or a mineral or an antioxidant by light. So you do not have to get all of your nutrients through food. You can augment this through light, in which scalar energy will create the antioxidant in your quantum field. It's not a biological process, it's a light process. So that's right. Many people have been said, well, they can stargaze or in some way they can meditate upon the sun, and they feel that they can actually assemble nutrients or somehow bring in nutrients into their quantum field or maybe even their physical body. Is that true? I theorize it is true. Many of our clients tell us that their food intake has diminished because they're receiving the nutrients they need by way of light.
Okay, well, so, I mean, again, a former biologist, my thought goes immediately to plants who use photosynthesis, yes. who are harnessing that sun energy.
Yes.
So would it be kind of, and that is a biological process, but it also is a quantum process.
Exactly, doctor. Let me share research that my predecessor, Galen Hieronymus, conducted. Galen Hieronymus grew plants in the dark with scalar energy. He actually was able to funnel a wire into potted plants in his basement, and the basement was devoid of any light. So he grew plants, Hieronymus grew plants in the dark with a scalar energy instrument, proving to me that scalar energy is probably the primary force behind photosynthesis, whereas electromagnetic energy has a secondary role. But it was quite fascinating, and at least his experiment leads to that theory, that the first cause is scalar energy, and the derivative of scalar energy is electricity and magnetism. So Hieronymus grew plants in the dark with a scalar energy apparatus, and I'm sure electricity and magnetism had a secondary effect, but it proved that you can grow plants, and photosynthesis is accelerated or even initiated by way of scalar energy.
Okay, beautiful. So now I know some of the people out there, they would love to know, give us some examples of clients that you've actually helped. What are some results that you've got?
You're right. The key is results. Talk is cheap. So I'm all about results. So this is going to be somewhat interesting, intriguing to your audience. I'm working with a clinic in Delhi, India. It's called Om Prakash. And this clinic has over 5,000 people who've sent us photographs. Here's a collage in particular from Om Prakash in India. Okay. And everybody that we've worked with, at one time, if they had HIV, they no longer have a viral load. So there's a clinic in Delhi, India, in which people have sent us photographs, and we've treated those photographs with the scalar energy instrument. After we treat those photographs, the people say that they feel better, they gain weight, they no longer have a viral load. If they had a follow-up PCR test, they no longer have a viral load. And we see that their CD4 count has risen significantly in many cases, meaning that their CD4 lymphocytes are probably not being attacked by the HIV virus. Mm-hmm. Now, keep in mind, 5,000 people have submitted their photograph to me.
Okay.
I've never been to India, by the way. I have no influence over the people over there. I've never stepped foot in India. But 5,000 people cannot be wrong. At one clinical study in Delhi, India, I think we have achieved something monumental.
Okay. So I'm just curious because, how there are some factions of the government, some factions of the military that don't want this kind of information out there, whether it's the pharmaceutical companies or whoever has all the money and all the power. At least they want to have all that. So right. Is there any pushback from those groups so far?
No, there hasn't been. And I think for various reasons. First and foremost, God protects me. Secondly, when I say I work through the quantum field, I don't think very few people, even including in the government, quite understand what I'm doing. So if you can't define what I'm doing, it's neither correct or incorrect. It's still a theory. So, keep in mind, I don't work with people, I work with photographs, and photographs are a new field. There is no oversight on working with photographs.
Okay, well, that's true.
Yes.
Okay, so you've given us the HIV example. Are there other individual cases that have been like really amazing success stories?
Yes, something pursuant to your neck of the woods. People from Hawaii, I know many people in Hawaii, send me photographs of the ohia tree. The ohia tree is suffering from a fungus, ceratocystis. And after we work with trees from Hawaii, we can treat out, we can eliminate, break apart that fungus that is infecting the ohia tree. And many people have told us that their trees were infected with this rapid ohia death syndrome, if you will, this fungus. After we worked with the trees rebounded. They came back to life, so to speak. So not only do we work with people in India who are HIV infected, but we also work with trees in Hawaii that have this plant fungus, ceratocystis.
Okay. So are there so far we've talked about viruses, bacteria. So those are kind of physical ailments that people have. How about things that are a little more mental, like mental illness or mental wiring? Can this technology help that?
Yes. Many people tell us that the chakra balancing, scalar energy now automatically balances the chakras. It's not me. Many people say they have a sense of tranquility, that their brain waves are more tranquil. They're not so anxious. Many people say that their dream state is enhanced. They can finally sleep at night without interruption, without tossing and turning throughout the night. Well, how do I do that? I don't. Scalar energy reprograms the mind so people can sleep. Sometimes people say that they no longer have insomnia because of the sessions. Invariably, many people say that they have a very deep dream state, or they have a dream recall like they've never had before. Well, that lends itself to the conscious and the subconscious mind. And if that's the key, we're working with the consciousness of the universe, Christ consciousness, that has a favorable outcome on the conscious and the subconscious, that has a favorable outcome on the emotional and psychological well-being of people.
Okay. So I guess I'm thinking of people in my life and that I know tangentially that like have multiple PTSDs or massive depression, anxiety, and lots of trauma. So this would help just balance them out and potentially help regulate, rewire them.
Yes, I've seen that with many people who are suffering from, say, drug addiction or from the horror of war, military combat. Some people who had abuse earlier in their life, physical or sexual abuse. Many people have said that somehow the chakra balancing has given them clarity. It doesn't make the wrong go away, but it gives them clarity and allows them to move on in life. It eliminates that emotional block.
Okay, beautiful. So have you used this in your own life?
All the time.
Okay.
All the time. I'm 62 years of age. I believe scalar energy has prolonged my life. It has enhanced my lifestyle. I feel great. I would recommend it to anybody.
Okay. So now, earlier in the show, I had mentioned, I know that 0 point energy, scalar energy has the ability for being used in travel. Whether again it's bilocation or it is actually physically traveling in some kind of craft. And from my understanding, there are people that are working with that energy to, really create things that are outside of what we know in our mainstream. So do you know anything about that application?
Yes, I do. Okay. In particular, there's a scientist, a Russian, his name is Viktor Grebennikov. He developed a scalar energy platform in which he could levitate. He actually experienced anti-gravity. And as he was levitating on this platform, he did not feel any G-forces because he is no longer subject to gravity. So it's always been my contention that scalar energy is the cause of gravity. Grebennikov deciphered a way to negate or to nullify gravity to the point that he could hover. He could actually move about in a scalar energy platform, and he never had any G forces on his person because he was no longer in the electromagnetic spectrum that experiences gravity. He was in the scalar energy dimension, and he was not assailed by any G force.
Okay, so what is keeping that technology from coming out?
Thank you. Thank you. Imagine if we had anti-gravity. First of all, it's a safe way to transport. You cannot have a collision in an anti-gravity field. You need gravity to have a collision. Okay. Secondly, it's free energy. You can levitate. You can move about anywhere you want. Grebennikov purportedly said he could fly at 900 miles per hour. Okay. That's free energy. That's free transportation. Why aren't we doing this? Doctor, it comes down to one word: suppression.
Yeah.
Suppression.
So y'all are hearing it here. Not that you haven't before, but yeah, yes. There are so many applications for this technology that would really help people live in a freer way, a much more energetically enlightened way, we'll say. So really appreciate the work that you're doing and others that are in this field. So another question that came in is, can anyone send you a photo?
Yes. Anybody in the world can send me a photo. We offer 15 days of free sessions on the website, and I want everybody in the world to send us a photo. The only way to prove this is by demonstrating that this works. And our website to that end has our 15-day free trial. The key is this: we have to educate people. Obviously, this is new and groundbreaking science. How do you educate people? Well, my website has probably 300 articles that I've written, but probably the best way you educate people is putting them in the scalar energy instrument and allowing them to experience the healing.
Okay. Well, okay. So that brings up a point. So if you've got 15 days free trial, then is it something where people need to keep doing this on an ongoing basis to stay in that energy field, or is there miraculous healing and then you're good unless you revert back to, the things and the way you were thinking?
Yeah, some people say all they needed was 15 days of session, which are great. And then what I want them to do, I want them to tell other people and their neighbors to try the 15-day free session. However, some people are so scrupulous about their health, they want to be on this every day of the year. We have actually a year-long package. Some people will purchase a year-long package because they want the chakra balancing on a daily basis. They want the germ cleanse on a daily basis. So we leave it up to the people.
Okay. So I don't know the name of this thing, but my dad, for my birthday, my dad's into quantum energy kind of things, but she wasn't when I was growing up. So it's an about phase for him. But he sent me these discs that are quantum discs that you put under your water or your food, and it changes the molecular structure. And so I'm sure it's based on a very similar kind of technology. Do you know anything about those kind of discs?
I don't, but let me give the audience maybe a parallel.
Okay.
Quartz crystal. Crystal is a great capacitor. It absorbs scalar energy. Again, scalar energy is everywhere. Every object in the universe is filled with scalar energy, especially quartz. Quartz is a natural amplifier of scalar energy. So whether you use a pendant or quartz or the mind or the heart, you can't avoid scalar energy. It's everywhere. And then you just have to ascertain, how am I going to appropriate, how am I going to use this energy effectively? Quartz is an excellent amplifier of scalar energy. I use quartz in my laboratory as an example. But keep in mind, if you don't want to use quartz, people, the human mind, right, and the human heart are scalar energy vessels.
Well, and from what I understand about our bodies is that we are crystalline.
Yes.
So therefore we are those vehicles.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are.
And again, just on a very different kind of more out there idea. So one of the lives that I have is I am an Arcturian, and in that realm, I am a healer, but they don't need healing because they're higher dimensional beings. But there's a crystal, a quartz crystal that I use as an Arcturian to send healing energy down to this earth, Lisa. And then I have a quartz crystal that I access that energy. And so it helps heal me and then spread that healing energy out into my field.
Bravo. Any crystal will absorb scalar energy. And hence any crystal has inbuilt healing properties and inbuilt, if you will, consciousness. The entire universe is flooded with scalar energy. And one of the objects that absorbs it readily is scalar energy. Another one is gold.
Okay, that's great to know. So for those of you listening or watching, quartz, get some quartz and some gold. But also, I would highly recommend doing the 15-day trial, because what do you have to lose? You have nothing to lose and everything to gain. One of our watchers here is, what about children? She specifically is thinking about her 13-year-old that incurred a TBI at birth. I don't know what TBI is.
Yeah, traumatic brain injury.
Okay.
By all means, if the children are under your care, send us their photographs. Send us the photographs. And I can't promise a miracle, but many people with traumatic brain injury or even autism seem to respond favorably. I'm not saying this is the cure, but if it's God's light, I say that scalar energy is God's light, try it. It should help.
Okay. So where do you see yourself moving? What direction, I guess, in your research do you see yourself moving from this point? What are your big visions?
Today, in my laboratory, by way of photographs, I was working with 500,000 people. 500,000 people. And eventually the world is going to realize that we are going to see many favorable outcomes because of this working with 500,000 people a day, and then people are going to get involved. I know it sounds quite fantastic, some of my claims, but today in my laboratory, I work 500,000 people. What am I getting at? This is going to be a global healing ministry. Eventually, we'll work with 1 billion people a year. And then, Dr. Lisa, then we're going to work on anti-gravity and free energy and using scalar energy to enhance human memory and our thought processes. So the sky is the limit. You can do just about anything with scalar energy. And I need a greater number of researchers to participate in this. It's a solitary path. I made that very clear. Back in my 20s and 30s, I knew I'd have to go at this alone. There's no paycheck in this, Dr. Lisa. There's no money. There's no industry. There's no money. You're sometimes an outcast. Well, that's what it takes if you want to be a trailblazer.
That's true. Very, very much so.
That's it.
Yeah. So how are you paying the bills then right now?
Just through the website. I barely get by with our website. Patrons, people who pay at least sign up for a month. That's the only way we can get by. You hit the nail on the head. A lot of research has to be funded. And I have no funding, so I only can move at baby steps right now. Okay.
Well, and hopefully just by you coming on shows like this and getting the word out that, that energy, because everything, this energy, that energy will flow in so that you can really expand your research, because we all need to understand this. We need this kind of energy, this technology. I mean, we have it. We just need to know how to harness it and how to really access everything that it can do.
Yes. It's the sky is the limit with this, people. It's the infinite intelligence of God. Scalar energy is free. It's from the sun and the stars. You don't have to worry about scarcity. Again, this begs the question, why aren't we using this free energy to power the world? The day is coming in which we will.
It is. And I think the more that people are waking up and demanding that things change, that understand that the Western allopathic system is good for some things, but really it's not the be all end all of healthcare, and just even energy, the way that we're harnessing the energy and using that, and transportation. There's so many like different beautiful things that we can do. And so we just have to be brave, stay the course, right? Yeah.
Right.
And be the trailblazers.
Exactly. Sooner or later, people will say, well, there's merit to what Tom is doing. Look at my website. I have 4,000 testimonies. I think that's of merit. I think that's noteworthy. Is it real? Well, according to 4,000 people, they send in testimony. Yes, it's real.
Yeah, that's a pretty good, I guess, test case of, it's been so long since I've been out of science. I'm just trying to think of like trials that you've done.
I'm glad you mentioned that. So people say, Tom, where are your clinical trials? And I told them about India. And I said, now see, the 5,000 people who signed up, which is the experimental group, no longer have any viral load for HIV. And that's a true statement. And the control group is everybody else in India still, if they have HIV, they still have a viral load. Okay. So that's my clinical trial. One clinic, 5,000 people, everybody feels better. Nobody has any viral load. That's my control group. Okay, that's my experimental group. Yeah. Is that a valid test? Well, I'll let the people judge if that's a valid test.
Yeah. So, okay, now a question about the photographs that people send to you. So, I guess give some parameters on what you need in terms of that photograph, because I know that we have some people that are ready to mail you a photograph right now. Yeah. Or email it to you, however you need it.
Yeah, good question. Now, keep in mind, Scalar Energy knows everything. Just send me a photograph, just your face, just a bust shot. The age doesn't matter. God knows how old you are. Your signature on the photograph stays with you for life. This photograph is probably 3 years old, but it still reports my immediate constitution. Just send me any photograph of your face. That's it. The age doesn't matter.
Okay. Well, and that's really good to know, because it's like, well, some people are like, I don't have a photograph, a recent one. And do they mail it to you or email it to you?
Always email. Our website is scalarlight.com. Okay. Anybody can visit the website, read a few of the articles. Then if you're ready, email us your photograph. And with your family's permission, you can send us family photographs. Include your pets. And for 15 days, we will tell you by email, we'll instruct you as to what you're experiencing. And then we let you decide the merit. We let you decide how beneficial this has been.
Okay. Oh, that just brought up a new question. So you inform people what you find with their energy field?
Yeah, we will. In general, we speak about what the work is in general, because we don't diagnose individually, but we can speak collectively, because everybody's treated identically. So this is one time where one shoe fits all, so to speak.
Okay. So if I was to send you a photo of me, my husband, my kids, my pets, so then what would it pick up? Like, I know I understand.
Very good. For instance, our standardized session will identify potentially now hundreds of thousands of species of microbes. Presently, we can identify over 400,000 species of microbes and destroy them.
Okay.
So on a daily basis, we'll look for 400,000 species of microbe, target them, and if they are infecting you, we'll destroy them, at least in your quantum plane. And then every day we balance your chakras, and every day we provide nutrients. We can assemble over 350 different types of micronutrients. Now, what is pertinent is these instruments are on 24 hours a day. So you're being treated 24 hours a day with this God light, with this Christ consciousness. And after being treated for 24 hours a day, most people feel it. Most people who are sensitive say, yeah, there's something different here. I feel it.
Okay. Well, and I know a lot of my viewers actually are sensitive in that way, very intuitive. They feel the energy difference. So for those of you watching and listening, again, 15-day trial, what do you have to lose? So that's, Scalar Light, SCALAR light.com, right? That's
Yes.
your website. Okay, beautiful. Is there anything else that you would like to share with the audience before we wrap up?
Yeah, I want to impart this upon people. When you think positively and when you have good feelings for mankind, virtuous thoughts, virtuous feelings, you set up a scalar wave. We are what we think, we are what we feel. So think well, feel well, and because you're broadcasting scalar energy from your mind, from your heart. And this has been proposed by health coaches. This has been proposed by philosophers. Is it real? Scientifically, from my background, it's accurate. Yes. Your thoughts, your feelings not only produce your present state, give you an informational field, but they project that informational field to society.
Mm.
So you are really in control of your destiny with your thoughts, your scalar thoughts, with your heart, with your scalar emotions.
Beautiful. Well, again, thank you so much for the work that you are doing in the world, for your passion, your drive, your wanting to help the greater good, because that truly is what this technology is and what this energy is. And before I had you on, when I read your bio, I'm just like, okay, well, this is going to be a fun conversation. And I have learned some new things, and I know my audience has, and we are going to help spread that message. And I got a few people already like, I'm checking it out. I'll try. And I think I'll be sending you a photo. So we will, we'll see what happens. So Tom, thank you so much for being here again. Scalarlight.com. And for those of you interested in any of the things that I have coming up, classes, retreats, products, etc., drlisajthompson.com and BigIslandUFOtours.com. And thank you for being here, and I'll see you next time. Aloha.